All right, welcome in. It is 8 a.m. Pacific time, and this off season, we're starting something new. We're starting something regular, and that means it's going to be the 8 a.m. check-in with me, with Lombardi, talking about the 49ers thought every day, maybe more than one 49ers thought every day, but just some consistency so you know you can wake up. If you're on the West Coast, it's a wake up morning coffee kind of thing. If you're elsewhere, well, hey, 8 plus 9, 17. It's 5 o'clock right now in Central Europe. So maybe it's happy hour with Lombardi, but you could set it however you want according to your time zone. Just know that we're going to try to come on live wherever I am. Sometimes it may have to be from my phone, but it's going to be a live show at 8 a.m. It's not going to be long. It's not going to take too much of your day, too much of your happy hour. Or if you're somewhere in Asia, it might be nighttime right now. I don't know how the time zones work. I just know that at 8 a.m. Pacific, right now I'm actually in Central Time, so 10 a.m. Central Time, but at 8 a.m. Pacific every day, I'm going to come live. I'm going to share 49ers thought, get you ready for the day of potential 49ers news. Along those lines, why don't you spend right now brainstorming? If you have a name for this daily installment that you would like to suggest, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. Go ahead and drop it in the chat section. And maybe you will be chosen as the winner because right now it's just called 8 a.m. Lombardi. I don't think that's that creative. It gets the point across, though. So we'll go from there. Anyway, 49ers, they have lost Bobby Slowick, who was their pass game coordinator. They didn't have a dedicated offensive coordinator title for anyone this past season. Mike McDaniel had it the year before in 2021. That was the only season under Kyle Shanahan in which the 49ers had a titled offensive coordinator was Mike McDaniel in 2021. He wasn't the play caller, but he was the offensive coordinator. And he obviously did have a lot of responsibility and a lot of power in helping Kyle Shanahan game plan throughout the week. But Shanahan was the play caller. He's going to remain the play caller. The question is, who is he going to elevate to be the pass game coordinator to fill in for Bobby Slowick, or maybe even the offensive coordinator here, depending on how he wants to arrange the titles on staff. And I believe that the favorite is this guy right here on the left. That's McDaniel on the right, but on the left, you have Brian Fleury. Is Brian Fleury the next 49ers offensive coordinator, or at the very least, the next big 49ers promotion? He currently is the tight ends coach. But Fleury, I think, might be the next pass game or offensive coordinator for the 49ers. And, you know, this just goes back to the 49ers and their propensity to hire from within. And this is a good propensity to have. It is the sign of a healthy organization, healthy culture. If you are developing coaches at the lower levels, to the extent that they can take over a higher level coaching job and they already know the system, they're already familiar with everything going on inside the building, well, that's the sign that you've got a factory going on and the factory is producing positive results. And the rest of the NFL recognizes these positive results by hiring away higher level 49ers assistants to even greater promotions at their jobs. But then how do the 49ers replace those higher level assistants? Well, they take their lower level guys and move them up. We saw it with Bobby Slowick, who graduated to pass game coordinator. We saw it with Mike McDaniel. We saw it with D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans started as a quality control guy with the 49ers. Then he turned into the inside linebackers coach. And then he turned into the defensive coordinator. And then he got poached away. Yet another promotion, but this one had to be with another team since he wasn't going to become head coach of the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan obviously has that job right now. So the latest right now, I think, you know, the trend is heading toward either Clay Kubiak, who is the assistant quarterbacks coach, or Brian Fleury, who's the tight ends coach. And I wrote about Brian Fleury, and this is an article that I definitely recommend you check out so you know what Brian Fleury's responsibilities are, because everybody will look at Fleury and be like, ooh, tight ends coach, I don't know. That seems like too minor of a role to consider for pass game specialist. But that absolutely is not the case. Let me tell you a couple things about Brian Fleury. Tall guy there, much taller than Mike McDaniel, that you can see up on the screen. One is that Fleury is a former college quarterback at Towson, and he still has an arm. He still warms up next to Brock Purdy during these games and throws go patterns to the 49ers receivers, and he whips that ball out there. I mean, it's impressive to me. Brian Fleury can still throw the football. However, it's more about, as a coach, obviously, what he brings with his mind. And with his mind, Brian Fleury has coached on both sides of the football, several different positions, quality control, moving on up. In fact, this past season was his first year coaching tight ends. He had never done it before. And obviously did a good job because we saw the best year for George Kittle in terms of touchdown catches. I mean, it was an objectively good year for the 49ers offense and that tight end position. So Fleury working with the tight ends for the first time was successful. And we have to go back to look at the original reason why the 49ers had him work with tight ends. And the reason they did that was because he is a pass game specialist. He knows the routes the tight ends have to run down to the minute details so that they run the routes precisely for the 49ers quarterbacks. And this is something that they wanted to have as like a infrastructure security because Trey Lance was going to become the quarterback and everything around him had to be as stable and as set and as precise as possible. So they put Brian Fleury as tight ends coach, and he worked on the minute details of receiving and running routes and breaks and body angles so that they would fit with the quarterback. So everything that the 49ers did this past season coaching-wise, including moving Fleury to tight ends coach, was done through the QB's lens. Let's make life easier for the quarterback. And it certainly paid off because the 49ers were effective even on their third quarterback this past season. So Brian Fleury is already very, very intimately familiar with the 49ers pass game, which is why pass game coordinator seems like a job that would be a natural promotion for him within the system. Not to mention the fact that he's coached the defensive line at a different level before. He's seen both sides of the coin, so he can, he can understand how to attack and scheme against defenses. That's really, really important for Kyle Shanahan. Kyle even says that some of his most, valuable formative experience was working under Monty Kiffin in Tampa Bay. We're a defensive mind. Kyle has worked on the defensive side of the ball before, and that's allowed him to understand how to attack defenses from his vantage point as an offensive coach. So he sees a lot of himself, I think, in Brian Fleury, who's coached on both sides of the football. And that's why I think that Brian Fleury is a natural heir apparent for somebody like Bobby Slowick, the 49ers' next pass game coordinator, and potentially even a future offensive coordinator for the 49ers. So here you have it. This is Brian Fleury, and this is the coach that you should be keeping an eye on now as the 49ers finalize their coaching staff to replace Bobby Slowick and to set it for 2023. Once again, those of you just coming in, I see we have a nice crowd here. Welcome to 8 a.m. Lombardi. Morning 49ers check-in. That's what this is all about. This is going to be happening every single day. We're going to develop some consistency so you can wake up at 8 o'clock, or if you're elsewhere, like I said, 8 plus 9 is 17. That means that you'd be somewhere in Central Europe. It could be happy hour for you. You know when to tune in live for a nice, consistent 49ers discussion. It won't be overwhelming. It will be a quick hitter because I have writing to do. I have to go out and give you guys a list of 49ers draft prospects right now. That's going to be exciting. That's going to be coming out soon. So I'm going to go off, do that. I want you to leave your Lombardi 8 a.m. show name recommendations in either the comment section or the chat section, wherever suits you. All right, that's my thought. Brian Fleury, next 49ers pass game or offensive coordinator. Everybody, thanks for joining. We will talk to you very soon.